Well, good evening. I've got a whiskey talk for you guys, and this is pretty good. So this is a stupid Facebook comment. We're going to go ahead and look through it and talk about it here. I hope you guys can form some opinions. So my wife decided to post just, the proper way to tie a rope halter. Just help educate the masses. Something you can post about every 6 months. I'm going to read a comment from Melissa. I'm not going to do the full name because if I told you it was Melissa Mike DeSalva, that would be messed up. Then you could look her up, or him, or them. Who knows who it is? They don't even have a profile picture. So I'm not going to tell you their name's Melissa Mike DeSalva, but you could probably find them if you wanted to on our Facebook post. Anyways, starts with a lowercase first word, which, look, if you're doing that, I notice every time you do it. Starts off, they say, nothing more petty than these horsemanship pages that take the time to point the wrong way to tie a halter. The only in all caps, the only reason the right way is preferred, not better, is because it's easier to untie if they set back on it. That actually sounds better. That actually does sound better. Not just preferred, but actually... Oh, anyways, let me keep going. That is literally it. I've never heard someone say, in quotes, my horse sat back real bad. The injuries could have been worse, but they weren't because I tied the right knot. Well, I don't know if I should be talking to Melissa or Mike here, but this feels like something a man would write. Punctuation's not great. But there's good spots, like they used quotes in spots and parentheses. Okay, let's just address the only reason it's right. It's preferred, not better. Let's call the person Mike. Mike goes on to say, you can untie it if they sit back. We already addressed this, but I'm just saying again, that is better, Mike. Just so you know. When you argue, be careful not to prove yourself wrong. Because, I already thought you were dumb. Now I'm sure you're dumb. And then, I've never heard someone say, my horse set back real bad. The injuries could have been worse, but they weren't because I tied the right knot. Well, you're probably right. You've probably never heard someone say that. I've actually never heard someone say that. But sometimes things are more right and nobody gets hurt if they're done wrong. So, I could wear my shirt backwards. I could wear my pants backwards. I could put my socks on inside out. And nobody would get hurt. But it would be wrong. We're not saying you can't tie your halter that way. If you want to, what we find when we post photos and videos is some people want to get better. So that's why we post it. I will say this. If your horse sets back, let's just run a scenario. And you can't get the halter off because you tied it wrong. And most of us know what? If you tie it right, you can just push the little tab up and it loosens. So you can't get it off because it's tied wrong. And you have to cut it off. Now you probably have to take a sharp object up by your horse's head, a horse that clearly doesn't tie well, so he's probably not trained the best. He's probably a little worried. You could stab him. There could be problems. And if you're not in a pen and you cut him loose and you can't rehalter him, that's a problem too. But it's funny to me that a person would go out of their way to say that we're being a certain kind of way, like as if we're talking down to people. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's getting really hard to help people when you can't say, hey, that's not the best way to do that. Just so you know, Mike is not the only one that struggles. So what happens is people don't tell you when you're doing something that most of what it does is it just tells the people around you, like, hey, Mike doesn't know what he's doing. Not a big deal, but like when you led your horse up, I could tell that, you didn't really know what you were doing. So and you can't, like, we all know this. You have to be careful how you critique and educate others. A Facebook post is nice because you just post it and they can, view it or not, move on, preferably move on with their life. Obviously, Mike's having a bad day. We see that there. I mean, there's a chance that's even a fake profile. It doesn't feel like it with a male, female last name. It doesn't feel like it, but when there's no profile picture and like they're on there trolling, like I kind of feel like it feels like it's probably someone that knows us and just wants to troll us because they went out of their way to have poor punctuation in some spots while good in the other. Like the whole thing didn't align, right? And one thing I do as a trainer is I see in horses what aligns and what doesn't. It's how we figure out if it's a physical or a behavioral problem when we train them. It's like sometimes it doesn't align and you're like this horse has physical issues likely. Like we should probably get some x-rays before we continue the training. But anyways, if you're the kind of person that wants to learn, something we should all work on is how we receive criticism. Facebook criticism, if we don't like it, we should move on unless, okay, if someone else posts something and you read it and it's not at all directed at you and you don't like it, move on. If someone posts on your page and you don't like it, hey, fair game. Unsolicited advice, we all know it's a risk. Like I give it sometimes, and I know it could go one of two ways. And a lot of times it goes poorly. Even maybe someone that is clearly at an early stage of training, which some days I feel like I am, it can go poorly. I tell them, hey, you know what works for me? I kind of did what you're doing now, and it goes poorly. And people have done it to me, and I don't like it. So that's why I'm a little cautious when I give advice. But we could all take a little lesson here and maybe just keep scrolling. I try to. Or I make comments that I think are funny. Sometimes there's a little drama involved, because we get bored and sometimes it's fun. Stir up a little drama, I'm finding. I shouldn't do that, but sometimes it's funny to me. So, if you want to tie your halter correctly, good. If you don't, whatever. I don't care. I still might tell you. If you come get a lesson from me, I'm still going to let you know. It's wrong. You could always get a nylon halter, but don't be like Mike. Don't look like an idiot on the internet. If you don't know, that's fine, but don't look like an idiot. So that's a quick little whiskey talk for you guys. Hope that helps. I hope Mike sees this, and I hope Mike improves his life and makes better decisions. Cheers. We'll see you guys next time.